Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of In the Huddle Sports Radio, episode 66. Now, as you see, we don't have Kenny C in the building, but we have more than well capable guys of getting the job at hand accomplished. This is your boy Real Lil. I am joined by Cam Jones, aka Coach Mello, and Zach. How both of y'all boys doing today?
Will, doing well. Happy to be here with you. Just excited. Crazy week of football, crazy week of sports. So let's do it.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
man. Like I said, happy Monday, guys. Episode 66. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure. Can't wait to talk some football with you guys today. Let's get it.
Let's get it. We might as well jump right into the first topic. We're going to go right to it as the Cowboys defeated the Giants 34-31, kicking the field goal as time expired. We also had some other news, which was Dak Prescott's injury. We want to shout out Dak Prescott. There's a lot to dive into with this topic. I guess we could start with the game, and then we can transfer to Dak Prescott. Starting with you, Zach. What was your overall impressions on the game?
So it was a very interesting game. I know going in, I was like, all right, the Cowboys really have to win this game. I thought it was interesting, like, which of the two weaker, units was going to succeed. I was curious specifically when the Giants offense was on the field against the Cowboys defense, because both those units have been really struggling. I was curious, like, all right, who's going to come through? The Giants started off pretty well. They were up 14-3. Instantly, Dallas comes right back, makes it, I believe it was 17-14. They had the lead at the half. Look, man, like, you obviously have to feel for Dak. I don't think there's anything else to be said, man. Like, that guy's a leader. He's the heart and soul of the Cowboys. It's super unfortunate, that he didn't really get a long-term contract in the offseason. It's going to be very interesting to see, like, how exactly Jerry Jones, does with monitoring, all that, because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. So he's going to have to make a lot of big decisions. But Dak Prescott, I don't think he's the best quarterback, but I'll say this, like, he's definitely a very good leader. He's had a great season. He's never missed a game, and just seeing him, on the ground, like, it makes you, put everything into perspective, and I just hope he could recover as soon as possible.
Coach
Yeah,
Mello,
Zach.
talk to me.
Oh, yeah, Zach, bro. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Honestly, bro, divisional games are always interesting. You get what I mean? Even though, that's a weak division, but I believe yesterday's game was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, Dak had to be carted off the field. But I like the way how Andy Dalton came in and pretty much sealed the game for the Cowboys, especially towards the end when he threw that deep ball to Gallup and, put the Cowboys in field goal range to win the game. So I think moving forward, as far for like the game planning, they're going to have to rely more on Zeke, in my opinion, because now that Dak is out for the year, they're going to have to put more pressure on Zeke moving forward.
I would say this, man. I got to be honest with you. The Giants got to be ashamed of themselves. They have to, because they had it was 2 points in the game where it cost them 2 touchdowns, undisciplined penalties. On the fake punt, then you have a flag on the offensive lineman on Cam Fleming wiping away a perfect executed fake field goal touchdown. You just wiped that away. And then they had another penalty as well, costing them some points. So the Giants really should be ashamed of themselves simply because they are the worst team in the worst division in modern football. So, I mean, right, that's no trophies. You can't say, well, the Giants played great. They could have won. I don't think coulda, shoulda, woulda, makes sense at this point in time when you were up 14-3, and obviously Dak Prescott went down to injury. That's a game that you really wanted to win, but you cost basically the Giants cost themselves that game. And I got a few things to say about Daniel Jones in a few minutes, but I do want to transfer to Dak Prescott's injury. And it was unfortunate. I was at the dinner table. I was eating dinner and watching the game in the kitchen when that happened. So it kind of messed up my appetite watching it while I was eating. Because, my mom made some dinner on Sunday. You know how Sunday night dinners are. Y'all already know Sunday night dinners are the best dinners for the week. And, I'm there eating. I have my napkin in my shirt, my fork and my knife. And I'm like, game is on, good game. And I'm eating and I see him go down. And I seen his leg, the way how it, shaped the other way. And it kind of, made me lose my appetite right out the bat. And I kind of have a little experience with stuff like that because I did broke both of my legs before. So I know how that feels. It feels like the world is ending. It feels like it's Armageddon around you. You don't hear nothing. It's like dead silence around you when you break a leg like that. So I could understand what he was going through. You see the pain in the brother's eyes. And it's unfortunate that he couldn't secure the bag before that injury transpired. But my question to y'all fellas is, do you think Jerry Jones deserves to give Dak that contract even through the injury, or is it, you know what, the brother's hurt, his future may be in doubt? What are your thoughts on how Jerry Jones should handle his contract?
I believe.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I think for me, like, there are many different ways to look at this. Like, if I was the Cowboys, I really don't know, like, how, like, if I would have paid Dak this past offseason, you know? Because I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's somewhere between the 8th to 12th best quarterback in the league, I'd say, somewhere along those lines. And I don't know if, like, he's worth all that money pre-injury. You know, I was kind of, you know, maybe if Dak is requesting this much money, I was kind of like, oh, maybe the Cowboys should go after a Cam or someone for, like, cheap money. But I think when you look at this now, like, it's really hard because I think Sam Darnold or a quarterback like that could really succeed in Dallas' system. But if I'm the Cowboys, I think you have to pay him, right? Like, this guy's done so much for you, so much for your franchise. You're Jerry Jones. You have deep pockets. I think I would pay him, but not with the expectation that he's going to be the same player.
Okay.
I agree without a doubt. I believe that Dak should get paid, especially with the numbers that he was, especially with the season he was having before the injury. I felt like he was trying to play up to that contract extension for sure.
He was.
You know, honestly, he hasn't missed a game in Dallas from the time he's been drafted to Dallas till now. Like, he always, you know, he always played the best to his ability. But like I said, man, unfortunate, like the way that he had to be carted off the field for gruesome injury. I don't know, but if I'm Jerry Jones, I would take that chance no matter what.
My thing here is it just shows how the universe works. We had somebody in Alex Smith that just came back from a horrific, life-threatening injury, and then on the same day he gets on the football field and takes a snap. We have this later on in the day. So it just shows how the universe works and how some people are fortunate and some people are less fortunate, and that's just how the universe works. But with the injury itself, you gotta feel it for Dak Prescott. There was so much riding this year on Dak Prescott. First of all, he was leading the league in passing yards, leading the league in completions, and he was having a MVP caliber year individually. Obviously, he wouldn't have got the MVP because the Cowboys are playing like straight garbage, especially defensively. So obviously that was going to hinder his accolades. But to be honest with you, looking at the eye test, he could have been in some MVP discussions based on the year that he was having. To see that all go down, to see that you're trying to get paid, to know that there's a lot of uncertainty in the future with even getting back on the football field in general, it has to be very harsh for the brother. But you know what? Dak Prescott is a guy that I know is a strong guy. He's a leader, and he's going to get through this because Dak Prescott has been through it all. Let's not forget Dak Prescott lost his mother. Let's not forget, he came out and talked about mental health during this quarantine, which I'm sure a lot of us went through in this time. So he shows that he can get through the obstacles, and this right here is just another obstacle that I believe he will get through. But as far as Jerry Jones and how he should handle that contract, I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to see him get paid after this. You even got Des Bryant who tweeted, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, y'all better make sure y'all take care of Dak if he can't play again. And it's interesting to see what they're going to do because he is a free agent. There's a lot of uncertainty with his injuries. And quite frankly, I think the Cowboys are still in the driver's seat to win the NFC East, even with Andy Dalton. Let's not forget this guy's an experienced veteran who's been to the playoffs a couple of times. And they have a lot of wide receivers. You saw him just able to fling the ball up to Mike Gallup one-on-one. He caught it.
Right.
But what are y'all thoughts on the Giants?
The Giants is terrible, bro. I mean, that's a terrible organization. No matter what, it seems like every week, like, I don't think these guys have more than 10 total touchdowns this year, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think they're one of the worst offenses in the league.
Yeah.
Defensively, I think, honestly, is their defense that kind of keep them in their game for the most part. But overall, offensively, there's no identity. I cannot tell you if they're a running team, balanced team, pass-heavy team. Honestly, there's no identity on that offense. So, at the end of the day, it starts with the offense.
Yeah, for me, I think it's very interesting. Like, you guys know, when we were growing up, the Giants were out here winning Super Bowls. They were always, really considered to be one of the more well-run organizations. But
I don't even want to think about that, Zach, because you know why.
But it's crazy. It's crazy because, like, since Odell and crew went on that boat trip, the Giants are like 12-40. I don't know if you guys have seen that stat, but it is wild. Like, just how quickly this franchise has just turned
I'm
like
I'm
awful.
weak. I'm kind of laughing right now, Zach. You got me weak in my mind because you said ever since Odell went on that boat trip, like the boat trip was the reason why the Giants is a dismal franchise. That's
No, but
funny to me.
like, but you realize that, right? Like, ever since that boat trip, nothing has gone right for the team, and I just find it very interesting. They've gone through like 2 or 3 head coaches in that span. They've obviously gone through a couple quarterbacks now. I actually, as weird as this sounds, I'm not really ready to give up on Daniel Jones yet. I think he could still be a solid player. I think they need to get Saquon healthy. Obviously, they need to improve their offensive line. But you're right, that was definitely an opportunity for the Giants to win yesterday. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the job done. And I understand they're a young team. They have a first-year head coach. The only problem is at some point you got to win. And you mentioned it yourself. They drew up that perfect fake field goal. That should have been a touchdown, and it was called back because of a penalty. When you look
And a
at
pass interference too. There
yeah,
was like a pass interference.
yeah, and the pass interference too. So I just think when time comes around, like the Giants played well against the Rams, couldn't get the job done. We're competitive in this game, couldn't get the job done. And even if you're a first-year head coach, like you just have to produce wins. That's what it ultimately is all about.
And another thing too, before I even talk about the Giants even further, the moral of the story is be careful on the boat that you go on because you never know what kind of curse could be on the boat that you go on. Just be careful what boat you taking, all right? What kind of boat trip you on. But the thing you said about Daniel Jones, I would say this. Daniel Jones had an opportunity to go and put the game away and actually score and win the game on that drive with a minute left to go in the game. And, he didn't do it. He didn't do it at all. And that's an opportunity for him right there. But, he still has the fumble issues we saw in that strip sack. Still got to learn how to protect the football. And this is a key stat right here. There were 14 fumbles for Jones in his career and turnover number 31 for him in 17 games. The brother is starting to be a turnover machine. Now, I know we can sit here and say there's flashes because there is. There's times when I see flashes in Daniel Jones, but we got to call it like how we see it. He is a turnover machine, and he has to get that, patched up in order for him to be a successful quarterback. Right now, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing flashes, and then I'm seeing a little bit of inconsistencies when it comes to Daniel Jones. But one thing I would say is,
Well, before you say that, I just have a quick question. Like, why do you think that is? Do you think that's more of the fact that, like, you don't believe in him long term? Or do you think it's, like, organizational stability? Like, the fact that this is already his second coach, the fact that his running backs hurt, what makes you say that?
it could be a mixture of both organization stability. Coaching obviously has a lot to do with that. But and Joe Judge should know better. I mean, he's supposed to fix that. So if he can't fix it, then we got to look at Daniel Jones and say, what's up with the turnovers? Because Joe Judge comes from a branch which is very disciplined under Bill Belichick. They don't kill themselves. They don't fumble balls a lot. They're very well coached as far as discipline on the football field. So if he can't fix Daniel Jones being able to, not turn over the football, then we kind of got to look at Daniel Jones and be like, what's the deal, brother? What's the deal?
I just think when I look at the Giants, like, obviously, nothing's perfect. I just don't think the first step should be getting rid of the quarterback. I just,
No, I agree.
Like, I think, Sam Darnold is a guy that, is compared to him, like, both being in New York. But, like, I don't know. I just feel like the dude did show flashes last year. And you're absolutely right. He fumbles way too much. Like, that has to be fixed. I just don't think that's a problem that's that hard to fix. Like, if you're talking about accuracy, that's something that's, like, pretty hard to fix. I think when you look at Daniel Jones, the tools are there. Like, he's mobile. He made a couple really nice throws on third down. I just think he kind of needs a better situation around him.
My thing here is, man, if the way how he's fumbling, the rate how he's fumbling, I wouldn't even want him holding a baby in his hands because you don't want him to fumble the daggone baby. All right, you don't want him to do that. But anyway, exactly.